Yes, and I think a lot of women like the very big stone.
The very big stone. I'm sorry. Hello, everybody. We're doing another episode of The Historian and the Maker. I nearly said that the other way around. This is Dr. Rosamund Lily West, lecturer, historian, art historian, and museum curator. That's right, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And this is Richard Chown, award-winning goldsmith and jeweller.
Thank you.
And today we're going to talk about an art movement that we talk about quite a lot, don't we? I think we're both
It's
fans
a pretty fab
of it.
one.
It's a really good one.
Pretty good-looking art movement.
So we're talking about Art Nouveau jewellery, in particular this piece, which is a very famous piece. I think for a lot of people, when they think about Art Nouveau as a whole, or especially Art Nouveau jewellery, think about this piece. It's very, very well known.
Yeah, it's the main one I knew of.
Yes, yeah, I had this as a postcard in my bedroom when I was a kid.
Did you? Right, I didn't.
So yeah, I like this a lot. And so this is part of the Art Nouveau movement. And shall I just summarise Art Nouveau? I guess I should.
Yeah, sure, because I find it quite curious about how the different art thingies. I got Art Nouveau and Art Deco mixed up for a long time, but they are different.
They are different. A lot of my students model them. They sound similar because it's art, then a two-syllable French word.
It's just a fad for that broader period of time.
Yeah, so Art Nouveau, the dates we normally put with Art Nouveau are kind of 1890 to 1914.
Interesting year. A lot happened in 1914.
So up to the First World War. And it's quite an international art movement, and it has a sort of different iteration depending on what country. So
is it Europe and America, would you say?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. So French Art Nouveau, which we're going to be talking about today, is if you think of maybe the Paris Metro, René Lalique, obviously. Then you have kind of British Art Nouveau, particularly of note is Scottish, the Glasgow School. Think of Mackintosh.
Didn't we see some German Art Nouveau recently?
Yes, yeah. So the German and Austro-Hungarian kind of iteration is Jugendstil, which is youth art, youth movement. And yeah, that's very specific. And yeah, we saw the Secession building, didn't we?
Yes.
In Vienna. And then you have Spanish, a bit of Italian. It's all quite kind of different depending on where you are. Yeah. But common themes are a real kind of preoccupation with nature and natural forms, female figure. You often hear this typical whiplash curve, that very kind of sinuous curve. Lots of kind of a kind of looser style than you see in kind of earlier Victorian artworks, and it also spans many media as well. So we're looking at jewelry, but it's also in architecture. What else? Posters. It's across interiors, loads of things, furniture. It spans lots of different media. So it's a really kind of interesting,
to me, it has
encompassing style
in common with Rococo. It's not a different time scale. I'm not saying it's like that closely related, but like completely mental.
Yeah, and very kind of curly-whirly.
Curly-whirly, crazy stuff. So I feel like there's times when...
should have had a curly-whirly for this episode.
Don't get me started, yeah. There's times when art has gone mental, and then it weirdly gets less mental. And I'm always confused by why you'd stop going completely crazy. So you had the Rococo, and then you had your Art Nouveau. And then just why do people go normal again after that? And I'm hoping it's time for another crazy, swirly, twirly, curly-whirly age to come back in.
So we're going to look at this piece a little bit, and then we're going to show some of your pieces and and you're going to discuss some of your pieces, obviously.
I'm curious about this whole thing, and I've been trying to sort of dip my toes into it a little bit.
Art Nouveau is quite popular with your clients, isn't it?
They love it.
It's a very beautiful.
I feel it's a rebellion against the minimalism that's happened over the last however many. Yeah, God, I hate. It's fine if you like minimalism. I want to be here for you. It might not be my thing as such, and I tend to be going as mental as you can fit in the space provided is generally what I like to do. And layers of mentalism, like you've got a big mental and then medium mental on that, and then small mental on that, to create coherent mentalism, which I feel is important.
Yeah. So shall we start with this specific piece?
The specific piece. Yes.
So as we said, this is very synonymous with the Art Nouveau movement, and this is by René Lalique, who's possibly the most famous jeweller of the Art Nouveau movement. He later moves into glassmaking. But this was made between 1897 and 98. And then it was exhibited at a very famous exhibition in 1900, Paris Exposition.
When did he go into glassmaking? Was that after the First World War?
Well, he uses glass in his jewellery a lot.
Yeah.
And then around 1909, 1910, he starts to move into glassmaking.
Right, okay.
And
I imagine France was quite distracted not long after that, so...
After the First World War?
Well, that's like a bit before the First World War.
Oh, in the First World War, yes.
So I think
distraction.
I think I read it was after the First World War, his glass stuff was big, but then...
Yes.
It was a bit before that he moved into it.
Yeah, so he's interesting. He's famous in the Art Nouveau movement for his jewellery making, and then in the Art Deco movement after the First World War, his glass making.
So he did both,
so he's often
cheeky.
Yeah, he's often known as a glass maker, but he is also a jeweller.
His swirly-whirly bits go into straight lines. I'm not impressed by that personally.
These are years apart, so it's his sort of creative journey.
You get the best at swirly-whirly stuff, and you start doing all straight lines again.
And he's got to sell as well. So, but after the First World War, this kind of stuff isn't as fashionable. So,
but it's fashion ruined.
So this is a corsage ornament. So this is like a very substantial kind of chest brooch, and it's quite big as well, wasn't it? We were quite surprised.
20-something centimeters.
23 centimeters long. And 26 centimetres wide, so it's
10
quite
inches.
large.
That's like about that much. That's a lot. I mean, that's a width of lots of women. That's sort of nearly side to side.
Yeah, it is a substantial amount of your body is covered by this.
Do you know how high up it was? Because there's...
I haven't seen any photographs of this being worn, I have to admit.
Because I'm curious how it relates to the body. It's not an easy thing to wear. It's not like an everyday piece, and you need clothes that work with it, don't you? And this is one of the problems at the end of Art Nouveau. I heard people saying Art Nouveau ended because you couldn't... Because corsets went out of fashion, so you lost this great big structure you could clamp stuff onto. So you got these very sort of wispy clothes, and so you needed lighter jewelry. I still think you could keep the shapes, though. I think it's a great loss. Yes. They lost these lovely swirly shapes.
Yeah, I mean, the size and also the material. So this is gold, enamel, chrysoprase, which is the woman's body, that green colour. Chalcedony, I hope I'm saying that right, and moonstones. So this is quite a big... we haven't read the weight, but I imagine this is quite heavy.
We've been looking at this. I've been trying to figure out how this is made and what it's made of, which bits which, and we're still getting baffled by stuff. Which was a chrysogeny. Do you think that's the body? Chalcedony.
Is the carved torso and head of the female figure.
Hand sculpted stone. It's a stone dug out of the ground, isn't it?
Oh yes, sorry, yes.
So this part isn't cast. This is someone has carved that out of, and it wouldn't have been Lalique himself. It would have been. He had a bunch of people working for him, so I'm assuming it wasn't him. Although I think this is a one-off.
I think this is a one-off, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you go back to the full picture, this is something that's very typical of Lalique and also Art Nouveau jewellery and works as well, this kind of hybrid figure. So we're kind of discussing, weren't we? It's called the Dragonfly brooch or Dragonfly corsage ornament, but obviously there's a female human in there. There's sort of griffin-like claws, I guess. And this idea of a hybrid normally female figure with animal parts, I guess, components, is very typical of Lalique. It's very typical of Art Nouveau. And also this kind of strangeness of the woman, as well as the mixture of sort of species, I guess, again, is very typical of Art Nouveau.
I find this one quite creepy.
It is creepy. And if you look at other kind of female figures across Art Nouveau, across countries, you have the same. So if you think about Mucha's posters of women with the sort of, the hair swelling everywhere, they're often, there's something a bit odd about them. They're quite like these, there's kind of an erotic part of them, but they're quite sort of odd. Like they're often sort of in a sort of trance-like state.
That's weird.
And if you think, it is weird. And if you think about some of the women in the Klimt works as well, they're quite odd. To the point sometimes of being a bit kind of off-putting in a way. So the strangeness of this is really interesting.
Do you feel it makes them more objectified, that they're a bit preyed upon? I'm going to say, if this woman is being eaten by a frog, in my opinion, like if I don't know about a frog, there's something lizardy. Like this is what's really confusing about this piece. You zoom out, you think that's a dragonfly. So you stand back and you think, cool, that's a pretty dragonfly. And then you zoom in and you're like, hang on, dragonflies don't have arms like this. That's a woman's body. And then you zoom in further and she's being eaten by something. That's messed up, which I don't quite understand. But also, what is she being eaten by? Because she's being eaten by something with it, like it's a lizard with like eagle claws, or you say griffin claws.
Yeah.
But she has wings. So her arms are wings, but somehow together they have this body of this dragonfly.
Yeah.
And it feels a bit like a fever dream. It feels like something hallucinatory and like, I'm tempted to say shamanic, but the problem with this is I don't feel there's a shared identity across the two things. I don't feel the woman is the lizard because the lizard's eating the woman. If it was something shamanic, they'd have a shared identity.
It's odd, isn't it?
It's very odd. And also the woman as the dragonfly is a very empowered posture. Like she's very proud and upright, but at the same time being eaten by a lizard who also seems kind of proud. And the whole thing is kind of proud. And it's strange.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
And I've talked about the sort of trance-like look of some of the women, but this woman almost looks dead because she's been eaten. And if you zoom in again, I think her eyes are kind of closed and she looks dead. So there's this sort of beauty in
that's very Victorian.
Death.
They loved a bit of death. But this is French, isn't it? So French. It's not Victorian in French because
it's a Victorian period.
It has a Victorian vibe of
cool.
Death's cool. Maybe a lot of French people died as well back then, I suppose.
And then
it's about death. Ooh, cool.
It could be. And then she has what look like kind of the dragonfly eyes.
Which also like Princess Leia buns.
Yeah, like you said, from a distance they read like the dragonfly's eyes, but up close they're like almost like a helmet, and they maybe look like two beetles on the side.
Maybe.
I don't know. And also another thing that's very typically Art Nouveau is this colour scheme as well. The blues
nice
and greens, you see that a lot.
Very nice.
It's
and
really
gold.
popular.
Blues, greens and gold. Very fine.
You see that a lot.
Look, I'm wearing an Art Nouveau colour scheme.
Oh, yes, you are. Yes. Yeah.
Not so much an Art Nouveau motif.
No, the pineapples.
They're lost. Pineapples are great.
Yes. And then we mentioned the carved body of the woman. Obviously, there's a lot of gold there, but also the wings and that transparency or translucent, is again very typically Lalique. He used opals, glass, enamel, moonstone. This one has moonstone, and that's very Lalique, and it's also quite Art Nouveau as well.
We couldn't entirely figure out which bit's which, so we think. Did you say diamonds?
Yes, it's diamonds.
So these might be diamonds. This whole section, there's so much going on. I forgot the name, but it's an enameling technique to create see-through panes. And what you do is you construct the gold work, the metal, and you solder that to a backplate, which is, I think, either copper or silver. Then you basically melt glass into all the holes, and then you soak it in an acid. It's not always actually an acid. It's like ferrous night. There's a name for it, and I've forgotten, but I apologise for that. But it eats away at the back metal, so you're left with the glass and the gold, which creates this very delicate shape. The difficulty of that is they've also got these stones set on. They've got hinges in there. So the whole thing was made then chopped up. So doing that, I mean, I understand where you melt the glass and then you etch the back off, but then you've got the hinges in. This is, I understand where you've got the hinges because the thing would keep breaking otherwise because it goes on a person. So you need it to sort of...
And I guess if it's articulated, you can move it to the shape of you.
I'm wondering if it was like there or... I suppose it has to be sort of there.
I think it would be on your chest.
On your chest?
Yes,
well, how does the... Where does the head stick up a bit?
No, it won't show on me, but like here, sort of here.
I mean, there on me is different to there on a sort
of imagine if this is a sort of
1900 Victorian,
19,
French lady.
Yes,
there might not be much going on there. It might have to start a bit.
Well, a lot of fashions at this time went right up to the neck.
Did they?
Yes, not necessarily. We can't say that definitely that would have been worn with a very high neck thing, but that was quite fashionable.
Because I don't know if it's hinged in the middle. Because it had sort of, there's a bit of a curve to get around, isn't there?
Yes, there is a curve to get around, yeah.
So how does that all work? We haven't had an opportunity to examine this.
Yeah, it's hard to see. It's you can just about see the hinges in the wing, but not the body.
I've been going on a bit of a deep dive on how this was made and trying to talk to people. And I don't know if it was cast or it was pressed, and I don't know. Around that time, like lost wax casting has been around for ages, and it's what I do most of the time, where you can sculpt it in wax. You can sculpt a form in wax and magically turn that into metal by making a mold around the wax, heating up the mold so the wax runs away, and then you pour in molten metal. And I think you could do that for one-offs quite well at the time. It's just whether or not they had, for the question is, could you do it well on repeat casts, which you need good vulcanized rubber molds for. And I'm still trying to find out when those really came in. So maybe it's mid-1800s, maybe it's mid-1900s. People are telling me different things, and I've been looking at close-up of pictures of these things, and people are saying, look, they're file marks, but they look like pressing marks. So I don't actually know how this was made. I've been trying to figure out, and I feel like a bit of a loss. I was hoping the woman's body was cast, because that's my thing, but actually, no, it's carved out of stone.
Gem, yes.
So who knows?
And it's quite interesting that Lalique uses these semi-precious materials, doesn't he? Which, I mean, there are diamonds and obviously gold, but they're semi-precious, and it's about the colour and the look.
I love that.
And you do
I really love it. And what I love is that, like nowadays, I wouldn't say nowadays, I think we're coming out of this annoying period when like everything's been about diamonds. And I like diamonds, but I like to mix them up with other stuff. And this idea that diamonds are the maximum height of classiness and coolness, when I think that putting colours in there because they're nice is great. I can't remember, I think Lalique may have trained as an artist. I might be mixing up my memories. But I trained in painting and sculpture and other art before I moved into jewellery making. And to me, gems are often like paint. So if I can find a colour and it's hard enough, I'm really happy to use it. I don't really instinctively feel it has to be a diamond or like a natural sapphire or something really rare. It's cool if it is, but if it's just a beautiful colour, that's great. And like glass this is what's mostly being used. Glass isn't in itself that expensive, but you can do some beautiful stuff. And if moonstone works, great, use it. I love all these weird and wonderful colours. Is it opals, you said?
Not in this piece, but he used opals a lot as well.
Princess Leia buns look a bit like opals.
Yeah, I guess maybe they're enamel as well. I don't know.
It would be great if we could get so popular at this that the V&A invites us in to have a close look.
Oh, the V&A don't have this. This is a museum in in Bilbao has a lot of
misremember. I
the
thought we saw
Laliques.
this in
No. I think we've looked at it so much we probably feel like we've seen it. But it's in Spain.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to some of your pieces as well?
Well, I wanted, because I've been looking at this and I've got this whole fascination with Art Nouveau, because I feel like I've got this whole thing like, when is it okay to be a bit sexy in art? And when is it good and when is it bad? Because it's very, very controversial. But like Art Nouveau, they loved it. And I think women loved it in Art Nouveau.
Yeah, I mean, Lalique's pieces were very popular with kind of quite famous, quite arty women.
Because I've been on
very
this, like,
popular,
I have some pictures, and I'll show you the journey I've been on. So if I just go over here. So this is a ring I made for a gay man years ago, like over a decade ago. And it's actually two naked men wrapped around the finger, like head to toe. And you can just see one. So this is upper body, this sort of middle body, and that's his legs. And this is like an older man who's supposed to look like a Greek sculptor was used. And I really enjoyed myself because I enjoyed the structure. I like the anatomy. I love human bodies. They're great. But it was like 4 years before I dared do a woman. And I felt really hypocritical about this because I thought I enjoyed this. I thought this was very beautiful. Why aren't I doing a woman? Because I can do his taste happily, but why can't I do mine? So I tried it. And I wanted to do something quite classy. And I was remembering an Art Nouveau thing my mum had, this lampstand. So I made this one here, this sort of reclining nude figure, which terrified me, to be honest. I was very scared to do it, but I did it. And what's interesting is it's really only women who buy this.
Yeah.
Like, men don't really buy this. I thought I'll do something that men will like, see if men will buy it. And men don't buy it. Women buy it. And it occurred to me that it's not with jewellery in particular, it's not necessarily what you're attracted to. It's what you aspire to being, or you identify, or like some sort of deeper inner sense, inner self. So like this, I was trying to make something quite nice and sexy here, but in a classy way, because I thought that must be possible, because it's not something that anyone was really trying to do. I feel like sexiness in art has been very lowbrow quite a while. You're saying there is some in Art Deco, which I need to.
Oh yes, there's some very.
I don't know so much about.
Yeah, some very glamorous kind of nude figures. Things like lampstands, like you were.
Maybe those are what I'm thinking of.
And
yeah,
they're really beautiful.
I think about the transition into Henry Moore paintings after the First World War. We do these not very sexy nudes.
No, they're not sexy. No, they're quite sort of monumental.
And then after the Second World War, like everything just had to be hideous. It seems like that was the rule.
I don't think.
You don't have to think that. Yeah, you can be subjective. I don't have to be subjective. I think like ugliness seemed to be an important part of post-Second World War art. And now we're sort of moving. Well, I'm moving past. I don't care. Anyway, I did this is a mermaid I made.
You missed the atlas.
Well, this is an atlas I made. Yeah, so I thought I'd have another go at a man, and I wanted to get like the strength of him. I wanted, like, I'm not gay, so I wanted to do a naked man as a straight man. As a straight man, I wanted to try sculpting a naked man. I felt gods are beyond clothes, so gods don't have clothes. That just seems silly. So it's a Greek god atlas, and I wanted to get like his strength and his power, and I thought this was quite cool. So I mean, yeah, it is also women that buy this. I think women just feel freer to buy this sort of stuff. So
yes, and I think a lot of women like the very big stone.
The very big stone. I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I had to go. This is a mermaid I had to go at. So I was trying to get this rumba hip vibe again. I'm trying to get. I've been trying to figure out what the Art Nouveau people figured out about making depictions of like fairly erotic women for women, but as a man, which has been, well, scary. It felt like a dangerous hobby, but no, I'm quite pleased with them. But they are like, I don't know if it's a bit controversial, but I think women do like them. But I'm fascinated by this thing about how women see women, how men see men, how we see each other. But,
and then this one is a mermaid. So again, it's going back to this like idea of a hybrid, isn't it? Like a lot of mythological figures, like mermaids, centaurs, what else? Gorgons, maybe.
Well, you've got your questing beast. That's just a badly described giraffe.
Oh, I was thinking of human animal hybrids. Yeah.
You got pans.
There's quite a few in mythology, and mermaids are
angels. The humans with bird wings.
Oh, that's true. Yes. So again, this idea of like hybrids is quite interesting. But going back to the sort of creepiness, I don't think you have done. Would your clients like?
I wouldn't dare do it creepy because it has to be empowering. This is the thing now. Like maybe it didn't at the time, but now it has to be empowering. It has to be what people want to see themselves as, so they can feel, yes, this is me, not like being eaten by a crazy, being dead, eaten by a frog. I don't know. I mean, I haven't done a survey. Yeah. Would you like some jewellery of a dead woman being eaten by a frog? I mean, that's, maybe ask around the subject. That hasn't necessarily come up in the thing.
No. Yeah. I think the sort of sinisterness of them is quite beautiful in a way, but yeah, maybe not an easy sell currently. Yeah.
Well, no, I find people want. Maybe it's just now. Maybe these people were so rich they wanted something a bit morbid. Because it is very wealthy clients, isn't it?
Very, yeah, and quite arty. This wasn't a lot of people. This wasn't everybody's taste, and also even if it was their taste, they couldn't have afforded it. So yeah, it's quite kind of arty, very modern women that are buying Lalique's work.
Oh, maybe they're showing off how intelligent they are. But yes, it's very morbid,
yeah,
dark,
and
it's deep.
Sort of the latest.
It's not just boobs.
Fashion. No, it's not just boobs. On that note, shall we end?
Bye-bye, everyone. Have a nice day.